hello. Present. The gang is already here. Alright, got all the right socials pulled up. That's good. So, that sound is not coming from this rack. This rack has nothing plugged in. That sound is coming from the rack next to it. Because today, I don't know how long this is going to take. Hope it doesn't take too long. I would have just done this myself, but lately, I've been writing a guide. And the purpose of this guide is how to build a modular instrument that works for you. This drone is absolutely smooth-braining me. I apologize for my stilted speech. But yeah, I've mentioned the guide a couple times. 2 chapters in, Explorer type, modularists and modular racks. Handled, musician type, modular synthesis. And their racks, written. I got 3 types to go, and I'm taking a minute. And in the No Gear New Year server, I'm sure there's a lot, but in the No Gear New Year server where I'm basically for early access to what I'm writing, they're helping me with the editing. Just the community at large, they're very helpful. And they pointed something out. I posted the musician one, and they looked at the rack that I posted for the thing I'm playing live with, and they pointed out, hey, a lot of the tips you gave actually aren't in your rack. And you know, they're not. I had made that rack before I wrote the book. There were things I knew were better, and I just made decisions based off of how it was. Building onto it and attaching things, and sure, it got recased and rehomed a couple times, but most of the changes that were made to it were made just one at a time on top of the other. Things get disorganized. I think that almost everybody runs their rack like that. Not everybody's going to do a full reorganization every time they add a module. However, this case has been frozen for 6 months. Nothing in, nothing out. I've just loved it. I never thought to reorganize it because I liked playing it. And when they brought up, hey, some of the general advice that you give doesn't apply to your own live rack, I'm like, well, time to take a look at it. So I did. I did for myself what I've been doing for other people, rearranged everything. And I know what everything's going to plug into already. This is a massive patch that's just kind of been in my head for a very long time. I already know where everything's going to go, which is ridiculous. Honestly. But I get a lot of questions about Moogle Spy, Moogsy, Vera, the many names that I am known by, Mother Dessicant, Fuzzy Beeps. How does it work? Like, why did you pick all these modules? What is going on? The patch that is on screen at any given time when I'm playing on Behemoth, which I will mispronounce many times. The correct way to say Behemoth was said by Stephen Wright in Reservoir Dogs. You can go look that up. Absolutely 100% correct pronunciation from Stephen Wright in Reservoir Dogs of the word Behemoth. The patch itself is a behemoth. How does it work? This stream is going to tell you how it's wired up. Maybe the way that I wire it up will inspire you. Maybe you have some of the same combinations of modules and you want to crib some of my sounds, and to that I say do it. Go right ahead. I think that like everybody should make their own. Everybody should make their own instrument their own, but if you've seen or heard something inspiring on the stream before, this is for you. So you can see the paths I'm creating, and I think I've done some interesting stuff. And I can start introducing my subsystems, all the things inside of Behemoth that I see on it when it's all wired up, by starting from square zero. Alright, clearing my throat here. Without further ado, let's start getting things wired up. And the first thing I'm going to do is turn off my background music. Send the void to the void. And let's get started. So, the way I want to start is by first, let's get everything that needs to go to the mixer to the mixer. I explain in the guide that picking a mixer and using a mixer, mixers are going to be the most important part of your rig as a musician. How complex they need to be is really up to you. You know what the instrument's going to be like, but your mixer's worth really considering. It's kind of where your rack's going to begin and end, because if you think about instruments, controlling what's making sound, when it's making sound, how loud that sound is really the most important part of an instrument. Like, that's step one to learning guitar, step one to learning the tuba. How do you make a sound on it? How loud does that sound? So, we're going to wire up sounds first. Step one, bass drum. And I'm just going to take the channels one at a time. There we go. So this is actually a change, I should mention, that I made to the rack fairly recently. That I'm sending my bass drum through an additional VCA because maybe I can look at the manual for the Joe Mox bass drum, but I couldn't get the internal envelopes short enough, so I'm using an external envelope to VCA for the meantime to give me the very, very short staccato bass drums that I want for minimal and other genres. Like usually you want a bigger, more booming and full bass drum, but when you want to chop it off, which I find myself doing a lot for the kinds of techno that I enjoy, it goes through there. And honestly, I may have the option to send it through a filter at some point too. And that's also another point about making some minimal techno. But we'll get there. We don't need to hook that up right now. Certainly an option. The filter's right next to it. So let's get the bass drum hooked up. Can't believe I'm already going to need some shorter tendrils. Let me see. Did I plan this out this well that I could like? And I may have lied. Let's get the end of chain going so we can hear what we're doing. Not quite long enough, but I do have very. Gonna pretzel the. And effects on my master. What I'm doing here is setting them up. We can just get our out together. I'm the performer into the ins of the golden master. What's going to give us is two of three compressors. So much. Need so many compressors. But there we go. We have end of chain. Let's see if we have audio. We don't have audio yet. And this is because there's one other thing I got to set up and I can't manually trigger it. Unfortunate. But that's fine. We're going to do it. Do I have any more ultra short cables? I keep my bass drum on channel 1 of the Sweet 16 Plus. I may duplicating the. Again, this is a lot of envelopes. A little probably in the manual. Probably being a bit of a. I might need to find a way to bring these guys closer together. That's fine. This happens when you Rearrange a case sometime. Need like gonna you know what I need? I need those upcoming stackable tendrils they've been. That's fine. Whatever. We'll figure it out later. But now, we should be enveloping the bass drum. We are. We're triggering the bass drum. Bass drum is turned on. Out. Well, when you completely take your rig apart, you never know what's actually going on, do you? We do a little bit of troubleshooting here. Let me try. No, it was maybe, just maybe, got to plug in the heck. That would. I think I did. I forgot to plug in the hex mix. Oh goodness, that's gonna make this boring. Unless got it on camera. No, I always forget to plug one thing. One of the for us. Yeah, there it is, chat. I was I was dialed in. I thought I had. There we go. It's going to be like therapeutic ASMR so many people watching somebody dropping the screws over and over. It happens. One. Uh-oh. Did I just get sliding nuts? Oh no, I got sliding nuts. Oh, you got to be kidding me. It was the third one. Ah! We don't here on EMS. Here on EMS, we see, like, what the heck? Fun fact, and I just popped one of my screws. No idea where. I think I see it. There's the next bit. I cannot believe that was the one that did it. Anyway, believe it or not, I was actually able to complete this entire rebuild off camera without that happening. The nuts did not slide away from me, mocking my hubris, not even once. Sure, I have a good angle on this. Not handle that happening on camera again. There we go. Nice and secure. Now, can I please, love of Acid House, can I please get a bass drum? Thank goodness. All right, let's get this. Should probably throw something in the book that's like after you wire up your master plan, you're going to need to change something. Fact. Go. Oh my gosh. Okay. Hopefully not anything else. Hopefully nothing else on this whole rig is going to be that difficult. We did it. We got a bass drum. Huh. Okay, so that's one channel. One channel out of six. The others will go faster, I swear. Next one's going to be the Boom Shack. The Boom Shack is actually really simple, at least to get it to the audio out. What I'm going to do, I'm going to wire this as if I have my tendrils already figured out. And then when I'm ready to start bolting things to the case, which I need to do, I got to go get those little. They sell little, I think they're rubber. They sell little bolts that fit between these M3, M25 screws that you can use to basically rubber staple your cords down to the instrument itself. So if you have a perma patch, then you can uh, you can affix it. So that way things aren't flying out. I might want my. I have yellow tendrils as well, which are slightly longer. There we go. Problem with tendrils is figuring out how you want to orient, of course. But we should have a snare now, honestly. Looks like it's triggering. Let's see if we can hear it. Ah, that's right. I didn't have it being a snare, but I can fix that pretty fast. The basis for most of the grooves that I make on this thing. And just enjoying what we've plugged in already. I can throw a little bit of master reverb if that's the vibe I want. That is the vibe I want. Or at least I think so. I wonder why I can't hear the. Wonder why I can't hear the performer. It's certainly going through it. Troubleshoot that real fast. Oh, y'all can hear it. I can't. I moved my headphones. There we go. There we are. so many possibilities here, and this is just using my master outs on the performer with just a bass and a snare. Like this is by all means the groove for a whole track. Anyway. Audio audible. Yatta! Just saw that. That's good. Okay, so next let's gonna hook up what I use interchangeably for bass. In fact, one of the things I really like about this machine as I've set it up is that so many things can pull double duties. Like a lot of them can pull double duty. A strange amount of them can do double duty. Um, I have the Cursus of Terratos. I have the Mycelium, which is a plate with a big knob. I have the Boom Shack, which I found out in a little video I did on EMS yesterday, is also multifaceted. I have the sample drum. Basically, anything can do anything in this rack. And if I want to start changing things up and be like, you know what, for this patch, I'm going to make the Boom Shack the bass drum and make the Mod bass drum be my bass lines. They all support that. And, well, sort of. I don't think the Mod bass has volt per octave. It's got linear FM, but no volt per octave as far as I can tell. Again, unless, again, it's in the manual. But yeah, I'm going to set up my voice. And the voice that I have generally on leads is the Curses of Terratos. And it's not very creative at all. Check this out. Plug the oscillator into a filter. We plug that filter, low pass, into our VGA envelope. And realize that this one. So I think, and I sweet. All right, so I think we have leads. Let's check. We do, and the volt per octave for that is going to come later. A little quiet, I can turn it up. Like, as a techno system, this is really starting to come together. And we are halfway done wiring up the sound sources. Then all the interesting stuff will happen. On 4, I have the quadrantid swarm. I'm sorry, I just had a moment of dread remembering what I have on channel 6. I'll try, chat. We're on channel 4. Stay focused. It's so much work done. No, really. I try so hard every day. Bring you guys good entertainment, and I'm glad that you can do things that I need to go through to really wire like complicated things. In fact, there is another connection I can make on the swarm. For the purposes of how I want to use the swarm, I gotta admit, I kind of use it as like a more digital. Um, I know it has analog components, but I actually don't use the reverb, and I use it as a more digital, like Mother 32, except it's kind of a sister 8 because it's an 8-step sequencer. But in order to get the kind of behavior that I generally like out of my semi-modulars, I actually, if you have a swarm, you can try this at home. I just plug my envelope straight into the mod of the low pass. So I have my left set to high pass, I have my right set to low pass, and so I have that going on. Because there's two low pass filters here and only one of them is multi-mode. So I didn't see a reason to have two-step uh low pass filters. I might need to think about that and read some stuff about the quadrantid swarm about like why did they do that? Anyway, I'm just linking the envelopes on both of the filters so that way whatever I have one filter doing, I have the other one moving. Tonal. Nice. We got it. And because I have it on an amp stand, that makes those keys a little less playable. But that's fine. I'm usually standing over it, and if I'm standing, I can reach them. Yeah, that works for me. I had it up top. It was actually a little more accessible up top, but whatever. I'm putting them on the bottom because that was part of the challenge. That I said, why not put your keyboards on the bottom? And then I realized, oh yeah, it's on an amp stand. Oh well. Keeps the cords away from it. And you know what? While I'm at it, why don't I go ahead and throw a clock signal at them? Oh, I got my clock signal. All right, I got one on. Oh no, I remember. I was using the. I using the clock on. I was using the clock on 9. Yeah. Things you don't need when you're not using flat. Things really are for like. You need them. You really need them. Otherwise, I would say go. Otherwise, I would say do not go flat unless you're trying to large. It looks like the Super 16 has. And like I said, I'll get some management things for those. Keep them out of my way. Get them out of here. Okay, moving on. Let's keep moving. Let's keep moving. I don't want this to take forever. It's already been 30 minutes, but that's fine. We're more than halfway done. We got that's good base time. I can see myself routing this cable, considering it passes over all of considering that it passes over all of the effects. I can see myself routing this cable flat, absolutely 100%. So get a flat cable. Come to think of it, I had everything on flat cable going in. I'll worry about which once we betcha. Perfect. Most secure, most secure and wise connection I've made today. Uh, so in the fancier section of the manual, I'm gonna have a story about NobCon 2022. I don't wanna give it away. But in the guide, there's a story about this. Just plugging in an oscillator, just sitting there like, Actually, I'm gonna show something off. Emily was the queen of setting up useful normals. Keep that on a different thingy. But it's fine, we got it. There we go. I just want you guys to know that I'm smiling at the moment. I'm smiling. My optimism, present. My smile, still here. All right, get this done. I can just stop here, right? I'm done. Okay, let's do it. Whoop. Channel 6 is my entire supplemental drum section. Let's go. So let's get this where everything. I'm going to wire this up in reverse. It's going to make more sense. Oh gosh, we have chats. Oh my gosh, the chat exploded. The ergonomics look closer. Hi, Metatron. I love your name. Oh gosh, I have another one coming. So I got a okay. You know what? Yeah, I don't need to wire up my supplemental drum section. Let me talk about the quadrantid swarm reverb tank. So when I bought this, it didn't come with the reverb tank. So I got an Accutronics reverb tank, which I think is what it comes with. So I got one. They're $9. Why not? I plug it into the back. I wire it up. Nothing happens. Like, did I get a bad reverb tank? I honestly don't know. I don't know how to test it without the quadrantid swarm. I don't know if the quadrantid swarm that I got, used by the way, uh, is like broken. Like maybe there's something wrong with the reverb chain. Who knows? But anyway, turns out I had it plugged in backwards because on the back of the quadrantid swarm, there's a red and black connector and a green and black connector. Which one's out? Which one's in? That doesn't matter because there are two parts, the red, black, and green, black wires, and the ground, which is very, very clearly labeled on the back of the quadrantid swarm, is the colored side, the green and the red. It is not the black like everything else from ever. Black is not ground on the back of the quadrantid swarm. Take that home. The red one goes on top, green one goes on the bottom. I have this memorized by now for when my new thingy arrives. But quadrantid swarm reverb tank, I'm going to try again. There's one on the way. Let's see how it goes. It's a simple Accu one. Great, good to hear. My energy is always infectious. Thank you so much. Okay. Well, now that I have a whole audience here. Okay, a lot of people want to know how this thing gets hooked up. So this is the percussion section. I'm going to try my best. So let me start, I guess, by no, that wouldn't even be right. Okay, so here's what I do. And here's why I do it. The first thing I'm going to wire up is the sample drum. Then I'm going to wire up the pico drums because they have a slightly different setup, and I'll explain why. So first, let's do the sample drum. This should probably make sense. So channel 1 of the sample drum is channel 1 of my mutajovis so that I have performance mutes on it. Channel 2 is channel 2 of the mutajovis. And I don't care too much if this area is messy because I'm generally playing this while standing, and those switches up top are now very accessible to me, as will the sample drum screen, which I tended to find myself peering into from an angle. But we should have sample drum here. Let me pull up a patch I was playing with last night, just to verify that we have it. Well, I mean, there we are. Got my wires going. There we go. get my sample drum gates wired up here. I'm counting a lot on this channel here, going straight up here between the knobs of the bass. That thing. That, not that. Yeah, gonna work. Like, there's no way I'm out of blue. Not quite, but I am now. And the song that I made with this patch, the video actually came out really good. I might upload it to my YouTube channel at one point. I suppose that this is the entertainment part of this particular stream, where you can hear this little deep house patch coming together as we rig up the entire thing from scratch. I just had a happy accident that I want to share with the class. So I set up a clock signal that had a missing gate on it. Hold the camera for a second. A little hard to see, actually. But position 12 on this clock signal coming out of my gate sequencer is dead. I mean, it's on. Like, I just turned it back on. But there's a funk going on there with that missing beat. That's really good. That's probably not the last time I'll be using like a missing clock for something that has its own sequencer like the quadrant. Very pleased with that. Although, I gotta say, come to think of it, I do not want cables in front of my voltage block, so I'm gonna fix that real fast. Perfect size, too. Oh, you'd love to see it. Well, that's hot. Right. There we go. Okay, so that's not the end of the supplemental drum section. I wouldn't have been agonizing over it if it was that simple. So, the sample drum obviously can pull a lot of weight. The samples here, none of these are strictly drums, but the way that I hook up the pico drums are completely different, and here's why. So basically, if you really commit, like I sort of did, to Erica for your drum section, and have a sample drum, and a pico drums, and a mixer, and some kind of 4-part mute. Honestly, if I dropped my mutajovis into a pool one day and I pulled it out and it was a Dessicant mutes, I wouldn't complain. But if you have a 4-part mute, this is how I square a weird circle where the mix for the pico mixer only has 3 inputs. That works for me because the pico drums only has 1 output. And I can... Oh, vocal and mic audio breaking up a little bit. Okay, good to know. Oh, it's good now. Okay, yeah, stuff happens. I'm streaming over Wi-Fi, I'm afraid. So, the way that I square the circle is I plug the pico drum into there, and how do you get performance mutes on it? Well, there's 2 gates in for the pico drum and 2 gates out on the mutajovis. So, what I actually do is instead of plugging the audio into my mutes, I plug the gates into the mutes for the things that are going into the pico drum. Which for me is good. Generally, if I'm playing something out of the pico drum, it's staccato, but I also don't necessarily want it to cut off when I hit the mute, like it's a little bit of a thing. Where here, let me cut something. It's very sudden. And you don't want that to happen to like a cymbal or a hat. It just sounds like, oops, it sounds like something went wrong. Let the hat ring out, let it finish. And so this accomplishes both of those things while giving me effectively 4 drum parts on a 3-part mixer. And the individual volume controls for the drum parts can actually be managed on the pico drum, and I've just happened to get really, really fast about them. So. The mutajovis normals down. This cable has the 1/4 inch. Nice. And when I go in for the cable manager, oh wait. I can finally use these things. Where'd I put them? That's fine. I had 2 of these before. I found one of them. I'm just gonna... Oh, there it is. It's right... Oh, it's under my seat. Hold on. I'm gonna clean up a little bit of this mess. Yeah, really. Good. Get some ultra short. Helps a lot. And honestly, I I should probably get a couple more of those, the super, super tiny ones, just to keep the patch a little under control. Like, there's definitely a cable shop visit in the future after I've completely rewired this whole thing. Cleaning up. Let me see how much together. We have one. Cool beans. Okay, and now I think we should have the full section. Right now, let's listen to just the supplementary drum section. I like that loose clap. This is what I was talking about with the individual, like, I want to bring that clap down just a little bit. There we go. You gotta do some clicking and encoding to get there, which of course isn't good for the encoder, but it works. Okay, let's hear everything. Everything's hitting the mixer, so let's do the mix. Just the mix. And there is more to set up, of course, but here's the full mix. Deep house. We have achieved deep house. All right. So really all that's left is the supplementary connections and things that make other things work and add dynamics and effects. So that section is coming next. let's get that done. Honestly, in the interest of having a little bit of musical content here, I don't see any harm in just having this here. Just having this running. Let's go. Alright, so now we have pitch control over our first drum. Or wait, what did I just do? Oh, I plugged in the wrong things. Pitch control, let's go. There we go. There's those claps. We also don't have a clock yet, so let's get the clock. There we are. Do I generally have on the sample drum? Let's see how close I can get this connection. Sweet beans. And once again, I'm going to need to make a trip to the cable shop. The important part to me is that it can move between modules to get where it needs to go. And it can. What did I have on 3? 3 is one of the channels that I tend to kind of mess with. That it's never going to something... it's never going to something too important or so important that I can't change it. So I'm just going to run it to the other channel of the sample drum. Perfect. Yeah, this is already looking much more playable. Because while there are a few rat's nests right now, one, I'm going to tighten them up by getting the right size of cable for them. And two, even once that's done, nothing's going to be covering anything. If you take a look at the profile of, and I realized this after kind of wiring it up, if you take a look at the profile of what's going where, it's just jacks. Like, you can follow with your eyes, like these lines of jacks. And if I need to wind cables around jacks or lay them on other jacks, I can, but it's not covering up important performable parts of the instrument. So you can follow those little paths. And in fact, in realizing I could do that, I realized something I messed up. I should probably have switched the position of the mycelium and the tides. I almost delayed the stream again just to do that, because it would have given me just unfettered access to almost anything except the bass drum, which I tend to want to modulate. So, impasse there. It can pass underneath the mycelium, I suppose. One bad connection will hopefully not, or one connection that just needs to be like managed to go directly underneath the mycelium, hopefully won't mess up the whole thing. I should also mention making these kinds of planning, it's not easy. I definitely agonized over this reorganization for several hours. So it's not a matter of laziness, it's a matter of something I had to give. And honestly, one weakness I have here, I like having the ornament and crime. I like having the kinks too. Honestly, I might kick the kinks out someday. I liked having an inverter on there. Can't remember if my ornament and crime can invert. I think you need a special ornament and crime to do that. But I do need some actual attenuation on this. Admittedly. But that's fine. Honestly, like, the kinks isn't even normal to anything. I can pop out the kinks at any point and have a bunch of knobs up top and I'll be fine. Oh, that's right. No, I'll tend to do like some sample and hold stuff with the kinks sometimes. It's more of just I have the kinks up there. I'm probably not going to be wiring it up. I have it up there as just like a toolbox for when I want to make a bunch of optional decisions. But looking at this rack right now, I definitely need some kind of attenuation more than anything else. So take that out, pop in the, oh gosh, what's it called? I just pop in a quad attenuator of some sort. I actually have one that would fit perfectly there. It's even silver front. That's fine. Let's finish hooking up the voltage plug. Okay, I've already made some of these connections incorrectly. Some, not all. But here's what I do. Had this cool idea. Okay, sorry. Getting ahead of myself. So I had this cool idea where I had a problem. I'm like, I can't get cables into the mycelium. Like, I was just running out of room. There's no room for the mycelium on the bottom. Even if I take out the ornament and crime, it's still not quite enough room. Even if I took the DSP out, it's not quite enough room. And because both the quadrated swarm and the Pico DSP are odd, they basically need to be in the same row. Because my other two Picos balance each other out and are part of the same system. So, even though it does not use the DSP, the quadrated swarm does not use the DSP at the end of the day, it was just something I'm like, it's another thing where it's like, I just, due to practical reasons, I need to have these together. And the mycelium synth, even if both were gone, 1 HP short. And then I realized I don't go straight from the voltage block to the mycelium. It goes into the Qantas packs, which is a master. I'll show it off in a minute. It's like a master precision adder, so that I can change keys on the fly. And I realized once it's plugged into the Qantas packs, I can just make a little short hop. And there we go. Also, as I'm digging through this pile of cables here from when I unpatched it, I'm finding more of my shorter right-angled cables. Oh, yeah, I know what I'm gonna save these for. Sorry, had a boyfriend needs to ask me a question moment. Okay, so we have, I'm just grooving on the deep house here. Get everything else wired up real fast. 6 I generally have to the quadranted swarm. But it's also... He was looking for his glasses. It's kind of the kind of task you don't want to undertake alone, honestly. I've been there. All right. And I actually plug both of these into the voltage adder because I'll tend to have things set up on the voltage block where I'll have gradual changes and step changes. By doing this, I'll make one of the channels just go for length 1. That way this slider works like a fader bank. In fact, let me go ahead and get my drone in on this party as well. Lovely. So that's all well and good. So that's all well and good for whole songs when I just want to lift the whole thing up a little bit. But I want to sequence this. Let's sequence it. What just happened? I think the quadranted swarm just made like its own decision. I don't know what just happened here. Hold on, I think it's the swarm. Let me see. Whoa. Strange miss. Oh, I know what's up. Hold on. I know what's up. I know what's up. Thought I did. I mean, it's funky, but I'm like, why did it suddenly start doing this? Maybe the Golden Master had a moment, because it sounds like that breathing sound is coming from the bass. It is. There we go. I was probably like between two values on the performer. Interesting. I haven't had that trouble before. Okay, so I'm going to get the rest of my standard connections wired up here. And how am I doing? All right, I've gone for about an hour and hour 15, hour and change. Let's get I'm going to go ahead and get my effects wired up next. And I'm going to do the most difficult one first. This is the one that I'm like, had to do something like. There was no good answer for this one. But let's get it wired up live. Why not? I have basically run out of shorter cables, but I mean that's good. It just means I gotta go to the cable shop. Okay, so we're gonna set up Ascend. Some some distortion that goes into a deep reverb, actually. It's more just meant to kind of take the harshness off of it. There it is. Here without it. The plasma drive is just magic. I mean, it's like a distortion, but it's more of a wave folder, especially once you turn on the octave functions on it. Next up is the reverb, my favorite. I really do mean that too. I love reverb. Again, we'll fix it when we go cable shopping. And the delay at the output here. Okay, and now we wire the outs. I'm sitting so far away from this thing for this camera angle, my abs are getting to work out. Not complaining. There's no clock going to our reverb. Let's fix that. That's what I'm talking about. Two cables that are not oversized and to quite like each other. Like I mentioned before, I'm running out of small cables. I see some. Feel them from the opening patch. we have reverb. Painless. Effects set up. Let me get a right-angled connection going here. There we go. Okay, and I'm actually pleased to say that's it. We're done. So obviously there's a couple things that aren't patched, and we can get those done. These are like just little things that I like to have together. One is, of course, the ornament and crime. Turn it on real fast. So I will use the BPM readout on the ornament and crime frequently to be like, hey, let's make the, when I'm playing live, I'll be like, okay, next I want to do ambient, next I want to do techno, next I want to do, especially if there's breaks involved. If I'm like, I want to do breaks, I want to get the BPM as close as I possibly can to the break, so that way I don't need to mess with it too much. And as far as breaks, prepare them. If you're going to be doing breaks, please prepare those things with just all the presets that you have at your disposal before you go out there, because lining up breaks, at least on the Erica sample drum, not easy. I'm starting to see why a lot of people who do Eurorack stuff with drum and bass relegate that to their Octatrack, because I feel like if I can figure out how to loop all this into my Octatrack, this would all just go so much better. And there we go, and the track we're looking at right now looks like it's around 124 BPM. Honestly, the Hemispheres has an internal clock. I gotta look up how to access it. But depending on how hard that clock is to access, I might use it for the clock if I'm going to be doing stuff with breaks. The Ornament and Crimes clock is actually more regular than the Sweet 16s. So I might actually go with that one in the future if I can just figure out how to manage the internal clock. Let's bring it. Let's see what else. We have a bunch of LFOs that can go all sorts of places. One of the things I mentioned in the guide is having a delta color of cable, so that way you don't get it confused for something that's already inside of your perma patch. Have something very visible, like this. I can easily tell that from all my other cables. So if I need to start unpatching when something goes wrong, or I get home and I just want to go to bed, but I don't want to leave it weirdly patched, or if it's like time to pack up, time to go home, let's go. Time to pack up, time to go home, let's go. I can just rip these out and I know that everything else is good. So anyway, let's throw some LFOs around. I left all my other B cables across the room. And even while I was looking, I found another right angle cable, but I can go ahead and set that up off screen. But yeah, we got those LFOs, we got the ornament and crime. Obviously, the right end of the hemispheres is like, oh, I need an acid sequencer for this gig, or I really want another envelope generator. Like, it's my just one more section, and I almost wish it had an attenuator. Maybe it does, and I just don't know. I gotta look at what's on the ornament and crime and to see if I can use it as an attenuator. What a world. And then I have the kinks up there. There's two things I generally do with the kinks. I'm gonna bring this track down. So the kinks I use for a couple things. Honestly, I don't use half of it. What I generally use it for is occasionally I'll get it in me to want to set up the voltage block so that one of my sliders is like a negative bias slider. But the problem with that is not everything that receives a signal from the oh gosh, what is it? Qantas packs, which does go into the negatives. Not all of my oscillators accept negative voltage. So what I need to do is set up the track itself with one of the sliders in the middle, and then use the other slider to pitch it up or down, or like to pitch it down, I guess, because the other one will move it up, and then the other one will then move everything down if I want to be able to reverse. Bias up or tune everything low, bias it up, and then move it down for downward momentum. It's just how I've figured out how to make it move down sometimes. And of course, with a couple things plugged into the Qantas packs, you can even have like a positive and a negative one that's acting upon, heck, the Qantas packs. But it's for doing kick flips. The other thing that I enjoy it for is sometimes I will manage the. Sometimes I'll manage the pitch information for the Cursus Ateritas. I'll manage it by running it through a sample and hold, which most sample and holds cannot handle. I'm sure most people have tried that patch before and found out real quick it sounds bad. So sample and pitching hold on a kinks or a div kit R&D step, which I think is part of why they're so hard to get a hold of, which is just three, basically, of the bottom third of a kinks. Uh, they're like precision sample and holds. They're the only ones I know of. Maybe somebody can chime in chat. They're the only ones that I know of that can manage pitch information like a sample and hold would work. Pardon me. I need some water after all this. But yeah, I gotta admit, after getting it wired up, this definitely looks more playable. Absolutely, 100% more playable. There's a little bit of cable management I want to do, but I gotta go to the cable store, get some of those clamps, get some shorter cables in general, and I mean like super, super short, especially for my drum section. And this thing's gonna be clean as a whistle before you know it. But even as it is, like the things that I find myself generally reaching for in the middle of a performance, in the default patch, they're great. They're doing just great. They're all right there. They're ready for me to work on them. So I would say that yeah, this was a success. Thank you so much for the people who stuck through the whole thing. I hope you enjoyed the deep house and heard the whole case coming together. Hope that I was able to inspire some people. Um, Once again, like I'm explaining all of this while I'm explaining like some of the optional things that I do, and there's still open parts of this case which make it slightly explorable, and that makes it perfect for me because if I want to do something entirely different, I can. I also didn't wire up the muscle, and I do that when I want to wire something. I'll generally have the plates going through it. Honestly, of the plates going through the MSCL. Um, that compressor, so that way the bass drum can reach over there from the mixer actually, and give it that pumping bass. But it's just one of my free flying compressors. That's like, oh, time to use a compressor, not my master compressor. That's on the Golden Master. All right, that's it. Thank you so much. I'm ready to get back to my life. Everybody, have a wonderful day. It was fun wiring this up with you. Oh, shoot. Thought of the day. I almost forgot. I need a thought of the day, but I can't get at my usual source of thoughts of the day. Just a minute. Got it. I also think I found out why my voice is cutting out sometimes. I think I need to manage my I think I need to manage my mic settings a little bit more. I think I may have messed them up at some point. But anyway, the thought of the day. Do I have auto focus on? I don't. I'm going to turn on autofocus so I can show off the thought of the day. This is the most important part of my show. I hope you all know that. The thought of the day. Can it even focus that close? All right. Assuming direct control of the focus to reveal the profound thought of the day. No? Wait, I don't have it. There it is. There's the thought of the day. Anime works. It just works. Goodbye, everybody.